Hi, Danielle.
Hi, Casey.
How are you?
I'm good. Life's good. I'm nervous about the Super Bowl this weekend, not about the actual sport, but I'm nervous about people gathering this weekend, and I hope they don't because I feel like we're in a good place with the virus, better place, and so I just don't want people to gather. But
these motherfuckers, they gather no matter what.
A great way to start the podcast. Sorry, but please, guys, if you're thinking about it, just don't gather this weekend, please. I feel like we're making we're making strides. People are getting vaccinated. Things are happening. Numbers are going down. Please try not to gather.
Well, I'm not gathering for the Super Bowl.
Well, either am I.
For the Oscars, that's something different.
Oh, well, the Oscars. Let's all get it together so that we can gather
enjoy
for the
them.
Oscars.
That's what this is about.
Let's get us to the Oscars.
Wow, Danielle. I mean, we have quite a show coming up right now.
Sure
We have an amazing segment followed by an incredible guest. Your aunt is about to join us as a guest.
So
this is wonderful. But before we get to all of that, quickly, we just want to tell you we are going to do a Valentine's Day live show. Our live shows have been nothing short of electric.
It's the most fun I have a year. And I had hoped by now we could be, in with you, but this way we actually get to see all of you in one place. They've been so much fun.
They've been majestic. I'm being honest, and I'm not trying to sell anyone. I'm simply saying they're a fucking good time for me too.
We're doing this for us, and we hope everybody comes.
Honestly, it's a Valentine's Day themed show. We will be deeply exploring the love lives and the fallings out of housewives. We have such an amazing guest who is our headlining guest, and that is Danny Pellegrino.
From the Everything Iconic podcast. He's a dream. He is a encyclopedia of housewives knowledge, and we're so excited to have him on.
He's a historian.
And then we also have some other guests popping in.
Yes, Mr. Jerry O'Connell is joining us. My beloved friend Kulap Vilaysack and former reporter / goddess on Earth, Suchin Pak. This is going to be a great show, guys. We also have a special message from one Joe Giudice. This is going to be a great show.
We always deliver some funs and some songs and some dances and some surprises. And now, is the show on Valentine's Day? No.
God,
we
no.
wanted you to be with your loved ones or your...
We wanted Danielle to get her...
Get it on.
As we heard last year, we know we have to have that for Danielle. So this will be the week after Valentine's Day. So you can still, do what you do and join us on February 18th. It's a Thursday. It's 5:30 Pacific time, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. It's an hour. It's a ball. We'll post information on our Instagrams.
And if you're in a European or Australian or, in Asia, wherever you may be watching from, you can also watch it for 48 hours after it. So don't worry if you are asleep during that time because you have 48 hours to watch the show after the show.
And there's a very fun live chat that we watch and we also have boots on the ground. That's what we'll say about it. But I genuinely am behind this.
And also, if you have boots on the ground, especially, I'd love to know if any of you have been in a romantic way with any of the housewives.
We've seen a lover of Sonia at another live show.
Exactly.
We've seen Kelly Dodd's new husband's daughter. We've had commentary on this. Can we hear from you?
Yeah. So if you've had any romantic liaisons with the housewives, we especially want those. But any boots on the ground are welcome. You can send them to bootsonthegroundbs@gmail.com. And some of the best ones or insane ones, we will be asking you to tell us on the live show.
Yeah, so join us February 18th. All information and ticket links are in our Instagrams, and we're excited. I'm going to just make a quick plug for my book. The Wreckage of My Presence is coming out May 4th. If you want to buy the book, the link is in my bio. And yeah, that's my memoir.
I've already pre-ordered, Casey. I'm so excited. Pre-order this, guys.
Sorry to hit you with two things to buy, but I do believe both are fun. I do believe you'll get a laugh out of both. Danielle, we got a packed show here. Should we take a quick break and come back with really a listener / friend question? Danielle, last week we brought back, I don't want to say famous ep, but famous, if I may, an old ep from the Vintage Archives.
Yeah. Vintage Beloved episode where we read an email chain of some PTA moms on the East Coast where, it was just an email chain where people just kind of lost their minds a little bit. And we loved it.
And there was a little chain that you and I were involved in. that it was just a discussion. We kind of thought, well, maybe we'll read that because I do find it funny, but also there's a genuine question we would like to put to listeners. And, sometimes there's questions you don't have answers for, but I'm open to receiving other people's answers.
And this was an email chain that we had, in all seriousness, last week that just evolved from a simple question that turned out to be very difficult.
Very difficult. So we have joining us to read this chain, the author of the question, if you will, Miss Deanna Chang. Welcome, Deanna.
Hi. Thanks for having me here for this important moment and this important question.
And now it's a question at first you're going to say to yourself, and then we will get to it, but you're going to say to yourself, what are they talking about? Like, of course I have the answer to that. But do you?
Search your heart. You probably don't.
And if you do, show us.
Yeah, at face value, it seems like a question that has an answer.
But dig a little deeper, right?
And yes.
All right, let's begin. And again, please send us your answers.
And on this chain, Casey will be playing herself. I will be playing myself. Deanna will be playing herself. Then Casey will be also playing her sister-in-law, Shira. And I will be playing Matt McConkey, beloved Matt McConkey.
This is our Bravo chain. And here we go. Let's begin.
Anyone buy a shirt lately that they love, fit, comfort level, etc.? Literally want a shirt.
Ha 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 ha. What? Just shirt?
I know.
I mean, any more info?
I just don't know how to acquire one, honestly. Something that shows off a figure and is comfortable. It's so plain, such a plain ask.
Honestly, I was just making fun, but I also don't think I know how or where one gets shirt. I too need shirt.
I've looked up best shirts.
I wish Claire was still on this chain. She moved to London. This now falls on Shira.
Seems like a Claire question. Sad she was taken off this chain.
Shira just got me sweats, so I know sweats.
Love to know about these sweats.
Yeah, they're everything next level, very thick. Like almost a ski pant, hard to describe. I wore them for a shift of volunteering I just did. I mean, wow. They're great. Look, it's a basic black sweats. That's what it is. I love them.
Anything on shirts?
We've moved on.
Wow, okay.
I just can't think of one spot, style, or type to get shirt.
Thank you.
I enjoy Monroe tees.
Now, Danielle, she said shirt.
I did.
To me, what you're pitching with Monroe is a tee.
Not in the mood for a tee.
Right. She wants shirt.
Shirt.
Which leaves me with nothing.
Shirt.
Then I don't know what you mean.
When I tell you I have been looking up shirt.
A button
in
down?
Every which way.
No, Danielle,
not
shirt.
A button down.
Greek peasant shirt?
Wow, Danielle.
No, Danielle, you're not listening. Shirt.
Shirt. SHIRT.
Shirt means nothing.
It means something and you know that. Please don't gaslight me. A shirt is a thing. Shirt is enough.
No, it's like saying air.
Casey, a little help here?
Where would you like to wear this shirt?
Well, just about anywhere. Here and there, mostly here.
D, you have to get specific.
I want shirt.
Because a shirt you will wear here and there is a tee.
Something that's form-fitting, get that body out to the people, but long sleeve.
Okay, now we're getting somewhere.
Comfortable. No ornamentation.
May I suggest J. Crew, Madewell?
I've dug through both, simply not seeing anything. Those are my mains.
Go to Shop Bop.
I see shirt, but not the shirt.
They have many quote-unquote shirts.
Bop is great, and they have thousands of shirts, but not the shirt you're looking for. They have t-shirt, they have sweatshirt, they have sweater, they have button-up. No one has shirt.
Ultimately, I was looking for a shirt recommendation, and I didn't get that.
Jesus, take the wheel.
I then post a screen grab where I have Googled, where do you buy a shirt?
I ran through those.
Okay, well, Shira needs to weigh in. She'll have the answer to where I get a shirt. Okay, now here's Shira. She says, parachuting in. We are typing in shirt into Google?
Hey, any suggestions for shirt, Shay?
Now comes Matt McConkey. Great cue. Hard to picture Shira just casually buying a shirt online.
Ultimately, we have shirt. But where did we get shirt? And then how do we get additional shirt? It's just not black and white.
Could the shirt be black and white?
I mean, at this point, it seems like color is secondary to simply finding shirt. Shira says, does the shirt need to be a solid color?
Does the shirt need to be an actual shirt?
Can the shirt be pants?
I like that we're opening up our options.
Okay, what about mittens?
Or even a table?
Okay, well, this now feels like a mockery.
I just want to find you a shirt.
Do you?
Matt McConkie then says, we need Claire on this thread.
How do we add her?
How do we add her? How do we acquire shirt? All big questions.
Shop Bop?
Stop saying shop bop.
Circling back regarding emoji shirt.
Shira says, mate, I sent the link. I love the t-shirts. Basic as hell, an amazing color palette.
She doesn't want a t-shirt.
Don't want a tee.
She just wants a shirt.
That's it, D. You got it. A shirt.
Shira says, So that leaves us with the button up. What else is there?
Oh, God, no.
No.
Okay, good, okay.
Well, it seems that we are here again, Danielle. I'd love to plunk down a card and grab a shirt.
There are no easy answers here. Just more questions.
Okay, well, where will we be wanting to wear it?
Truly here and also there.
Ugh, here we are again.
Well, we do seem to have come full circle.
We can't get out.
What I would give.
Scene. Now, since this, Deanna and I have Googled every brand, everywhere looking for shirts. And don't try to send us things we've already seen. I know what you're thinking. And you might find something, but then you'll come to realize it's not form fitted. It's got too much shit on it. We're also not as interested in what I know you're going to say is like those striped
with
shirts.
like a boat neck.
Boxy. No, not looking for that.
She doesn't want your J. Crew. She doesn't want your Madewell. She doesn't want Shop Bop.
It's not that I don't want those, Danielle, and this seems to be where there's some parts of it where I think you're still in the dark a little bit.
Then enlighten me, Deanna.
I don't care where shirt comes from. I just want someone to direct me to it.
Right.
And no one has with love.
But this is the chicken and the egg of it all, which is I can't direct you to a place until I know what you want.
What information are you missing?
So here's
kind of shirt.
Danielle.
Oh,
okay.
Come on. Casey understands.
So finally,
what
I just looked up some favorite designers and I said, basically looking for shirt here. And this is what I would see. It would say in Google, search shirt by style. The styles they would present to us. Blouse, sweatshirt, t-shirt, sweater. No, don't try to get me a silk blouse. Nobody's looking for that. Don't try a blazer.
Not wanting that. Have that. Also, that's a different ask. It just is. Nobody is putting them down.
If anyone can slide into
Yeah.
Deanna's DMs, we know is what she doesn't want, but
She
don't
wants
know
a
what she
shirt,
wants.
Danielle.
That
Thank you,
is
Casey.
not a thing.
It is a thing. Casey understands. And as you said, Casey, every day you open your closet and what are you looking for? You hadn't identified
Right.
the question.
I realized something was touched off in me when Deanna asked for shirt because I realized every goddamn day I stand in my closet and say, I need shirt. And I don't have shirt. I have t-shirt. I have sweater, as you see now. I have everything but shirt, actually.
Yeah, I'm in the like
Don't
chambray
want it.
jean shirt.
What
thing.
about what I'm wearing?
Danielle, we've already said no to that.
Yeah, I don't want that.
You must
shirt. I
understand we
don't-
want it to flatter the figure. We're not looking for the tomboy thing.
It's close on this Zoom. You're the closest to shirt, but it's just simply not there yet. And I wondered, like, is it a 90s?
See,
thing?
I don't think it's out there.
I
It's a
know,
challenge
I
for
don't
everyone. I don't
either.
think it's out there.
Everyone help us through this so that we can remain friends.
And if the answer is it's not out there, that's also a fine answer.
It's an answer.
Right.
Okay.
It's an answer. Where do you get a shirt? At the end of the day, that's the question. Where do you
That's
get
the
a shirt?
question for all of us.
Deanna, I hope we get to something here
I do too.
I hope we
because, I feel like we've solved a lot on this podcast and we've asked a lot of questions and
we've told people that they shouldn't have their cell phones plugged in while they're in the tub. We have problem solved, but this is
I apparently gave wrong information about not getting the Moderna vaccine if you have filler. And someone said that that's just accusing me of pushing people away from getting the vaccine. And for that, I apologize. Apparently 1 in 100, maybe you just have a little, just sniffle. So not all our information is right, but we're trying to always do better here.
Do better and to provide better information, but we don't have it here. So we bring it to the people.
Yeah. I mean, see what you got. Sure. Do you have it or do you not?
We look forward to it.
It's a challenge.
Thank you guys. This was a great, I don't know. It was just great to kind of revisit this conundrum and look at it again with different eyes.
I'm angrier than I was when I started.
Because a lot of times you go to your friends to get advice and an answer. And for something that seems on its face as simple as shirt, you then think you're going to get shirt. And nobody got shirt.
And I feel like as much as Danielle feels I haven't opened it up, I did not talk about price. I did not talk about color. Okay. Nope. I sort of left those open because I'm at the point where I'm really open to any of the above.
You'll both pay $1 and you'll pay a lot.
I won't probably pay more than $150, but I would
okay.
If
that's a lot of money that you can get shirt for $150.
But listen to me, Danielle. You don't even know what shirt is, and that much I know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to spend $150 on shirts.
Nobody does.
But
I'd spend $150 on a table, though, for sure.
Sure. But if somebody said to me, when I tell you this is the most comfortable, it's the best, I look the best in this shirt. Every time I put it on, it fits beautifully. Yeah, I'm going to consider that. But I feel like I really left it open on my end and not one link that led directly to shirt came my way, unfortunately.
All right. My favorite part of the thread is that I simply can't seem to figure out how we would ever get Claire back on this chain. And it's simply just to add her back. And I will be doing that now. I'm sorry, Claire. She got a new number in London and it's hard,
That was beyond grandma's tech ability.
Yeah, I know how to do it. I just didn't do it.
And it's possible in these times that things are harder than they look at just on the surface.
Right. And again, it might not be there for the taking. And that's what I think my takeaway is it's not out there.
Great.
All right. Well, thank you, Dee.
Thank you, Deanna Chang. I look forward to processing our results together.
Okay, great. And I'll put a document together with links and colors if, in preparation for incoming.
Right, because this isn't just about you. You want others to find shirt.
We need to all find shirt.
And I would like to know who agrees with me that this is not specific enough. And she is asking for a question that doesn't.
Danielle, what we have found is that it's so specific it doesn't exist. So for you to narrow even further, we're going to get her nothing.
I think we've already got that.
We have put the word shirt into the internet and come up.
That's why it's too big. You need to get specific. Okay, let's not go round and round.
Okay. Danielle just doesn't understand this.
She doesn't. And that's okay. And I think that she's really representative of everything right now.
And she's entitled to her opinions.
And she is.
End of the day.
Should we move on to our other guests and to talk about the housewives?
Yes. I see Danielle is gently moving me out.
Yeah.
Go. Be gone.
Exeunt.
Be gone.
Bye, Dee. Danielle, our guest is seated before us and we can see her in all her glory.
Isn't it terrific? She's stunning, even as an elder.
And she's a family member of yours.
She is. She's my aunt, as they say. I say aunt, but some people say aunt. Kids, you're from the South. Do you say aunt or aunt?
I say aunt.
Me too.
But, on Atlanta this week, they said aunties.
Yes, aunties.
Now, please welcome, and she is just a wonderful, vibrant woman with lots of opinions.
Tons.
Straight to us from Boston. Please welcome Ronna Glickman.
Oh, ladies. I love seeing sweet Danielle's gorgeous punum, first of all. I haven't
Thank
seen
you.
It in a little while. We attempted a family Zoom and it was a disaster.
Yeah,
so.
we tried one for the high holidays and for Hanukkah.
It wasn't going to work.
It just
too many errant children.
Yeah, they were.
Around.
You don't, as a mother yourself, you are shockingly not. You don't love kids.
No, I mean, you get through that phase and then you enjoy them.
Now, Ronna, you joined us last for our live show.
What a show.
What a show.
R.I.P. Jiggy was the big opening number.
Yes.
And then we had some immediate discussion with maybe you could share with this audience a little of your thoughts before we dive in on Miss Erica Girardi and what's going on with her and Tom.
And also, just can I say, she has been posting up a storm lately, like a lot of shots of her ass and her
racier shop.
Decolletage. And as
Look over here. Look
what do you
over
make?
here.
Look over here. Look over here.
What do you make of it all?
Yeah.
And selling luggage. Go ahead.
And moved into a $1.5 million house, which may not sound bad to a lot of people, but to Erica Girardi, I mean, she was living in about a $15 million mansion in San Marino, that gorgeous part of Pasadena right near Huntington Gardens. So I think it's all a little bit of a PR campaign where she's downsizing and she's doing it her way. And
Now, I did hear that she was her new home, is rented, I believe, or maybe she bought it, but it is next door to a home that Armie Hammer was renting over the summer. And that apparently...
Oh, really?
The woman that owned Erica's house before has come forward and said she could hear him having sexual relations in the backyard next door. And Erica said something to the effect of, "I'm here for it."
Yeah. Well,
So-
I don't know if what if she's as here for it this week as maybe she was 2 weeks ago, because Ami has had a rough couple of weeks.
Yeah. Very rough.
Yeah.
Very rough. I just was surprised to see those two names commingling in the news.
Here's a question, Ronna. So it seems to me she's still getting her makeup and hair done, Miss Girardi.
Still has the glam team, still has the parking space reserved for her in Burbank. You know how important it is when you go to a studio in Burbank that they make sure they have a cone with your name on it in the vast, because you don't need it. You're in Burbank. It's like parking at a mall. There's plenty of parking.
I mean, I try not to go to
They
Burbank.
like to make her feel important.
But how is she affording that? Because there is just a litany of money of hers and Mr. Girardi that needs to be going to other places.
Well, it's very tricky with a glam squad. I mean, we'll get to Salt Lake. We'll ask ourselves, how can Jen afford to have added her 8th assistant?
Yeah.
And she's also renting a house. But I think that they work on a sliding scale. So I think when there's money, they get paid. But when there isn't, they don't really. And my guess, though, is that Erica has quite a bit squirreled away. And this is more of a poor house, look at me, show the court that I'm downsizing and that I'm being responsible, et cetera, et cetera.
Wow. Do you think she knew what was going on, Ronna?
Probably not the complete extent. I feel like people always say, oh, the wife knew. Well, but you don't know what's going on in the books at your husband's office necessarily.
I don't know what the hell's going on David Shokeenan. I hope it's great. But I don't know the ins and outs.
Yeah. I mean, you know the check clears, but you only know that because he says, yes, we can add the spa to the pool like we talked about or whatever.
I don't ask him for that, Ron. I know you're part of a different generation.
I know.
But,
I would like to say
I also make a sizable income.
We make our own money. We don't have to ask our husbands.
My point is, you're not checking his bank account and he's not checking yours. But you're making decisions together. So things are moving forward in life. I was in no way implying you two ladies don't have your own empires. Excuse me.
No, I'm kidding.
Pardon me. As a woman who comes from her own money, of course I understand. But my point is, life is moving forward in the household, so you assume there's no problem.
Of course.
Right.
But I think she knew it got shady. And, and I'm curious about this conservatorship, that his brother has filed. His brother wants him to be declared mentally incompetent so he can take over his affairs. But, I mean, something very wrong was going on there. And I don't think he was just embezzling for 30 years, but maybe I'm wrong.
Now, you said something that really kind of made me laugh in the beginning. Before we knew the extent of the money and this and that, you were like, I'm very upset that she's leaving him because of their age gap and the way he found her. Please share that again.
That's correct. That is not how you do it. If you are a cocktail waitress who, and again, Ms. Girardi has her own career now, of course. Ms. James,
thanks to him.
Excuse me.
Thanks to him. Let's not.
I think thanks to her.
I don't know which side either of you are on when it comes to women's lib anymore.
He bankrolled that singing in quotations career.
She was a cocktail waitress and she married an older guy. And I think it is your obligation, whether you have other partners or you live separately or whatever it is your job to see your older husband all the way out.
To the door. See him to the door.
You got to go down with the ship.
That's exactly right. You go down with the ship. Even if you're living in another house, separate, blah, 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 it is your job.
You're still swinging by to feed some applesauce.
You are taking care of his affairs, and you are making sure that he has someone to hold his hand on the way out. Yeah.
Well, sorry, I'm just laughing.
I love that, that's always been your stance, Ronna. Wow. Okay. Thank you for that.
Beautiful words.
Should we get into Atlanta?
I can't wait. I'm the auntie and you're the nieces. On this
can I
one.
tell you?
Yes.
I'm an auntie. I am an
You are.
as I
Danielle
was
is an
watching.
auntie. She was always an auntie.
I've been an auntie since the day I drew my breath.
You eat like a niece. But
I eat like a niece, but I live like an auntie.
Yeah, David, my husband, calls you Nana because in the writer's room, you would need like 20 cloaks and shawls around you at all times.
And I'd always have like a dietary issue. He'd be like, all right, Nana.
I cackled at this episode. Truly cackled. And you said, Danielle, it was fun to just hang out with our friends this week.
Yes,
with
I
them.
really enjoyed my trip with my friends this week. As I was sitting there watching, laughing, smiling, it was like I was there and I was happy to be.
We all needed that getaway.
On the shores of South Carolina.
I was trying to think if I had to be on one of these shows, they have to spend so much time together. Who would you actually want to spend time with? And the Atlanta cast is really the answer.
Atlanta. Because you can get some genuine laughs.
They have fun.
And they have fun.
Yeah.
They're never not twerking in each other's faces.
No.
They're never not. They get over things quickly.
They do. They're a little bit rowdy. They get rowdy for sure.
Of course.
Because there were so many women in that house. Can
I just say, now, what did you think, Ronna, of Kenya?
The crab cake?
No, even before the crab cake, bigger than the crab cake, but also of the same
same story.
Yeah. Same story was the private plane.
Yes.
For Kenya.
I've given
This is the 8-hour bus.
I've given it a lot of thought.
8-hour unair conditioned bus ride.
Yeah. During a pandemic.
Yes.
In the middle of summer. This must have been June. Because they were talking about Riley graduating, which was very sweet, et cetera, et cetera. So June, July, we're looking at for this filming in Atlanta, which is absolutely horrible. But South Carolina is gorgeous, though, I have to say. I absolutely love South Carolina. I was trying to figure out how that went down, and all I could think of was that she must have one of those NetJet memberships or whatever the low-end NetJet is. And that she had...
You're not going to even allow the fact that she could have paid for it for a second?
And that she had to use it. Why? Because she took that tiny little... Why would you take that tiny little flight? And I mean, I think Kenya does well, but I don't think she does that well.
This was a credit that I have left over at the Gap that was going to expire.
You are going to get kicked out of your NetJet's membership if you don't use the plane a certain amount of times.
And when better to use it than on a reality show.
Yeah. And I think I was trying to figure out part of what Kenya's problem. Now, I watched a few. I hadn't watched I watched episode 2, the introduction of what's her name? Dawn Sedora.
Dawn and LaToya.
Yeah. Oh, LaToya. And then I did 7 and 8.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
And I have to say, Kenya, I was thinking I'm enjoying Kenya more this season than I have in past seasons. She's still kooky, but she seems a little more together with this motherhood stuff that it has sort of forced her to be a more responsible person. And then we got to the house and all that foolishness with Marlo, who is crazy, of course. And I was trying to figure out what was going on between the plane and the crab cake and what that's all about. And I think the truth really is that Kenya is just cheap.
That's the truth.
And she didn't want to order the crab cakes for everybody.
She didn't want to Postmates because she knew it would go on her bill. She didn't want to Postmates.
But why did she, when you are hosting people in your home?
Oh, hosting. She didn't pay for the house. She didn't pay for the pig.
Okay.
She didn't pay for the pig?
It's still her responsibility. But for her to Postmate a single crab cake and a single order of fries for herself when everybody was in my life, would you ever? Ronna, I know you wouldn't.
Women were chumming. It was like chum in the waters for sharks. They could all smell that crab cake the minute it arrived in the house.
How dare. Can you imagine having everybody over at your house ordering, because for all intents and purposes, it's her house for the weekend, right?
Correct.
And so to order something for yourself and then to say, everybody eat the deli meat in the fridge.
There's food in the fridge.
Go to the
What are they, teenagers? They're a pack of teenage boys that you just say, they're going to eat whatever we have anyway, so just eat what's in the fridge. outrageous.
It was unbelievable.
It was outrageous.
It was outrageous.
I was actually
it really was.
angrier about the crab cake than I
worse.
was
the
about
crab cake was worse. But why would she take that? What's her name? Toya?
LaToya, yes.
Yeah.
LaToya. Why would she take LaToya on the plane and not Cynthia? I know Cynthia had some other thing she was doing, but
Because Toya is in love with Kenya on some level and gives her all this adoration and respect,
Yes.
and she likes this young thing
correct.
kind of with
Kenya
her.
has never. I realized Kenya's never had a henchman. She was always on the outside fighting everybody and trying to get her alliances in check.
But I think this is going to crumble.
Oh, of course it is.
I
It's gonna
had
crumble.
thought about Kenya as I was watching the last 2 episodes.
Okay.
And I thought to myself, has Kenya ever had a very good girlfriend?
Hmm.
You know, like a
You don't count Cynthia?
no, I don't. I don't think that they talk much when the show is not going. And I think that she doesn't trust her and she has good reason. But does Kenya outside of the show have any good girlfriends? And I don't have an answer to that, but it's a question I'm posing.
Yeah. I think it's a very good question because I think that's what she got tight with that Toya real fast.
Mhm.
LaToya.
Yes.
Real fast.
Very fast.
Yeah. LaToya is a big problem though. That's dark energy.
Wow, very dark energy. And it really came out. I mean, the fact that she showed up having said all these terrible things about Drew's wig, then brought her brought her a custom wig, then to present it. And I think the MVP, after she pushed her and then said, "Can I touch your hair?" and then said, "Here's a wig I'd like to present you," I think the MVP award goes to Drew, who turned around with just grace, elegance, and humor and said, "You seem like such a fan of mine. I'm going to present you with a headshot."
That was wow.
Incredible.
Wow.
Incredible. We've never seen anyone diffuse a fight like that.
Everybody was shocked. The old guard was shocked. Candy
Shock.
could not believe how well handled that was. Yeah.
Candy was on fire in that caramel colored leather testimonial outfit when she was literally screaming her lines. Because Candy is not eaten up with energy. She doesn't have a ton.
I loved her in this episode. She just was cracking. Her energy was cracking me up. It was beautiful. Now, there was someone who I also loved, Marlo, in this episode. I think she had a stellar episode.
It was a real Marlo arc.
Yeah. Let's be having an arc with Marlo.
She didn't need Nene to get her arc. She found it herself. Yeah.
Right. Which was pushing 2 couches together in the living room because she didn't like her room so that she could feel like she was in a suite. And then putting a sign on another door that said it was like her dressing room, just a random room.
I think that was the room.
Crying.
That was the bedroom. She said,
you're
going to put me in a closet. I'm going to treat it like a closet, basically.
And then crying and saying, "You really hurt my feelings when you gave me the worst room." To a woman, she has ruined her business and character, and she expected a better room.
But then when Kenya was like, because Marla was truly upset. I don't feel like I've ever seen her so like hurt, truly hurt. Starts crying, and Kenya was like, "You have said the worst things to me. You've been so cruel. Talked about my family, everything." And then Marlo says, "When I talked about your fake butt, your skin, like as if like."
Well, was that the time?
Marlo that's Marlo's blessing and her curse is she can never let an insult go. If there's an opportunity to insult someone, she'll take it. And so she had to say it that way.
At first, I was like, "God, you guys, just take the fucking smaller room, whatever." But I realized I broke up with a boyfriend once, an improviser.
Well, you don't really have to explain why.
You explained it. You just did it.
Right, I explained it. Okay.
I mean, Danielle married the king of improvisers, so that's a little different. Yeah.
That's very different.
If you can get the king, that's one thing. But then everyone else is pretty much a serf after that.
Yeah, I was with the fucking footsman or whatever they call it. I don't know what it's called. But so 3 times we went away with his friends, and every single time, so it was always like us going, we were not the host. Every time they put us in like the study with the pull-out bed, and I realized this is how people see him, and I can't be seen this way.
Wow.
I can't be seen as the friend that's put in the basement. Like, it's just not who I am energetically.
You can't be in the lower level.
So then,
right. I'm in the middle room. I'm not saying I need the.
But you,
I'm not,
so
I
you
know my
understand
place.
the struggle for privacy when they get to these houses and they look for the rooms.
I just thought everybody's thinking in themselves, let's give him the lower one. And I thought, I will rise.
I thought it was interesting they put Portia in the front.
Because she deserved it.
No, Portia was not Ocean View. Portia was in the front. Yeah.
Cynthia got Ocean View.
She
sort of a
certainly
bridal
did.
suite.
Yeah, she had to. Now, here's something I want to say as a public service announcement to everyone, and it's going to cover both Salt Lake and this. Nobody wants to do a fucking murder mystery party. Certainly not when they've been let loose from a pandemic to finally be able to twerk and drink as God intended with their girlfriends, and you've got like terrible actors. Nobody wants them ever. Don't say to yourself, this will be fun.
What about they were in South Carolina and they said 2 white men are going to run in with guns to this. A chill went down my spine.
Chill.
And Kenya heard it for a second. She was like, well, a police officer running in with a gun is probably not a great idea. Let's do it.
It was so it was madness. And also that was the absolute most budget situation. What about the photojournalist? I know how we'll do it because LaToya has a YouTube page. We'll say this guy's the janitor at the high school she hired to
and then he just stood there frozen. He's like, I work with Toya.
So crazy.
But when Portia jumped over that couch and they closed in on it.
The editors have been pretty good,
Editors have been on fire.
Okay, we did email Mr. Andy Cohen because the editing that occurred when the pig came out.
Yeah.
Okay, first when Portia saw the pig being roasted and she goes, they cut his head off and his feet and then they dug out his butt. That was hard and hilarious. And then, so the pig is now presented. Now everyone's sitting down for dinner. Portia's vegan and someone says, please say a prayer. When Portia said, let's all pray over this dead carcass. That's a quote. And then the editors intercut gospel prayer music as they showed different parts of the pig.
Beautiful.
Incredible.
Yeah. I mean, I know that the Writers Guild and the Golden Globes have come out today. I'd like to see these people.
They should be acknowledged. I agree.
I really would
totally agree.
Acknowledgement of these awards. Now, when Marlo, can I go back to Marlo real quick? Because
please.
When she found out that she got the bad room, she said to Kenya, and I quote, I just laid on your bed and farted and coughed. So you can have my good graces all over your bed.
That made me laugh out loud, I have to say.
Oh my God.
I mean, who doesn't want to go on vacation with these hilarious
It was very funny. Who is gorgeous Fallon? I sort of remember her from before. She's so stunning. She's like a tall, thin chili.
Yeah, she has the amazing pool area with her husband. Yeah, and has like a
from the TLC biopic that Drew Sidora was in. She kept saying biopic instead of biopic.
I had a tough time with her name is Fallon. Is that what it is?
Yeah. So where did Fallon come from?
Unclear. She was barely introduced to us yet. Now she's with us. And I had a very tough time when she said, and I fucking hate when women say this. And I'm sure you're going, well, I say it and I don't care. Or men. She said, I brought my husband. And someone said, why? And she goes, because he's my best friend.
Oy.
You're disgusting.
Well, what'd you bring your husband for anyway? That's not what the trip was.
Nobody wants to hear that.
The girls' trip, nobody wants their husband there. No. Nobody. And I don't want to see him.
Well, I don't know why she had to come at all, if that was the case, to be honest with you.
Right. And staying next door, it's like, get some cojones. You're going to need to be in this viper's pit. These women.
Staying with the baby next door.
Oh, now how did we feel about Kenya bringing her baby, and the other women all have little children as well?
Yeah,
but they do have help. All
I didn't agree. I was glad that Candy nipped that in the bud because Kenya really has no one. I mean, she doesn't
have help.
You can say what you want about Kenya, but she doesn't have a person in this world.
Mark Daly certainly isn't going to.
Yeah. If she wanted to come, she had to bring the baby.
100%
And she arranged for the baby to be in a separate house and to be taken care of the whole time and to only, though it seems like next week there's some issue where she chooses to spend the evening with her baby or something and they're all mad at her.
Now that I don't like. Yeah. But I guess because this has now become a bit of a trope and it happened in Potomac, like, wait a minute, you're bringing your baby and I'm this way. I'm like,
why would I ever
want to bring my baby?
I want to bring mine.
Isn't the point to not bring your baby? So this is a 5-day trip.
Right, which I don't love that. I thought it was 2 nights.
Who decided on a 5-day trip?
5 days is so much time.
It's too many days.
I would never, That's a 2-night thing and get me the hell away.
Especially when you can't go anywhere or do anything.
To go one state over a 5-day trip.
And we can't go to see a site or do a a day trip. Like, it's just not possible. So 5 days in any house, even a gorgeous one, is tough.
I have to say, it was maybe Dallas broke the seal for me a little bit, but it was very tough to watch all of these people hanging out together during COVID.
Yes.
And so Atlanta, it was maybe a little easier for me for some reason because I'd already gone through Dallas and I'd gotten adjusted to the idea that this is what they were going to do. But the loosey-goosey approach, and I know our main cast members have been tested, but they're still out in the world.
But have our murder mystery
I
actors?
worry about those actors, the staff. As a former murder mystery actress.
I have also done a stint in that world.
Oh, yes. I did it in New York City.
I did not know that.
Yes, I did it with my writing partner, Father Donna. Her father had a murder mystery company.
How did I not know
You didn't know this?
No.
And
apologize, Donna, about what I said.
But I was part of this. It was like one of my first paying gigs out of college. And I remember I had to do this with very wealthy people that I had to use the servants' entrance. I'll never forget that. That was a tough blow. And
I was hired in a murder mystery troupe for the Bushes Senior in Kennebunkport. We were like an improv troupe, and we lived in Kennebunkport, and we would do improv for their friends and gatherings. And then on the weekends, we would do murder mystery at like a local crab shack. And only 2 people came. And then we were all sent home. Because it's just nobody wants to go from their vacation to go see a murder mystery.
On mine, there were 5 people at the murder mystery party, 5 very wealthy people. And the troupe outnumbered the people. And so you would have to go around to people like I was like the commander's daughter, right? And you have to go around and tell people your story or whatever. And I was like, I'm the commander's daughter and I'm worried tonight. And I had to go around to everybody and tell them my story. And literally I went up to one guy and he was like, you've already told me. And I was like, so sorry. And then I had to die. I was the first one to die. But then they didn't do anything or like black it out. So I had to crawl off as everybody was
awful.
How many times did you perform for the Bushes?
Probably like 10.
What did you do? Just improv? Can I get a suggestion?
You know, they host a lot of different, they hosted a ton of different people. And then this did make me laugh. Every time Barbara Bush Sr. was so cute and into it. And she would be like, we'd be like, could we have a suggestion? She was look around and everyone like laughing and be like, gynecologist. But really cute. She was into it. It was they were very nice.
I'm surprised that they had 10 performances and that they arranged that kind of entertainment.
Well, we also did some other performances around, but we were like their troupe.
Bring them up
again.
For the
it was
summer.
cut short. Kennebunkport for the summer, not bad.
You were their court jester.
That compound right there on the edge. Yeah,
right. Gorgeous. Yeah. I mean, anything else for Atlanta before we move on? Candy's star earrings were tough.
Yeah, they looked like tinfoil. Those things.
I loved her outfit, her auntie outfit. She was showing everybody that she was not an auntie, and that
was great.
That was cool.
Where do we think it's headed with LaToya? Why have they? I understand that she's an instigator, and I suppose that's why they've brought her back for a little bit of that Nene energy. But where do we think it's headed with her? And I sometimes watch these things, and I wonder. You see everybody trying so hard, at least the sort of secondary characters, the second tier. And I try to imagine the show if they were full cast members, if their behavior would bother me as much. If the camera was focused on them and their story, would it bother me as much that they were behaving this certain way? Because they feel like distractions on some level.
Right. I mean, I like what Toya's bringing us, and I think next week we are going to. I genuinely felt a little scared when I saw that what's coming up. Like when Candy's pulling out all these outfits, and we've got a 50 Shades of Grey type scenario, and we know that something crazy.
We know that something goes on with the strippers. We don't know.
We do?
That male stripper.
Oh, we
think
know
either 2 housewives have a threesome with the stripper. We're not quite sure what happens, but it goes down next week.
They go down. Somebody goes down.
Someone goes down on someone, and I'm sure it's Candy and Portia. Just kidding.
Somebody said it's Cynthia. Or no, I forget who says what.
It could
Somebody
be
said
Cynthia.
I mean, it could be Candy, could be Portia. I don't
could
think
be LaToya, though, because she's been talking about how separated she is.
Yep. I think Toya will be one of our members.
Interesting.
Wow.
Can't wait. Can't
What
wait.
about Todd casually suggesting to Candy that she call the people from the dungeon party to see if they can get a few people, as though that's been COVID tested.
Right.
Let's pull that together in a day.
And as though they have cast members
Yes.
strewn all around
Let's
this
get
country.
some sex workers as though could you imagine if your husband said, "Oh, you're finally going away for a couple of days. Why don't we see if we can get some random sex workers to come to the house during a pandemic? And then you can come back and I'll take care of the babies while you're gone." There is one more thing I want to talk about with Atlanta, and I'll be brief because I bet you've already addressed this quite a bit. But I want to talk about Ralph.
Ralph.
Does anything happen since I watched number 2 and then number 7? Did anything more happen with Ralph after that horrific anniversary dinner where he showed us, unfortunately, that he is just an absolutely traumatized person who has absolutely no business playing family? There's nothing I like less when she had everyone over for the dinner party before they moved to show off the rental. I don't know why anyone would do that, but when she had that dinner party, I was watching him and I said, first of all, Ralph has a dishonest walk. You watch him walking and you know he's a dishonest person. And part of the dishonesty is not just that he's lying to her, but that he personally feels that he's living a fraudulent existence. That he had a difficult childhood, obviously, and now he has all of these he has a lovely family and a lovely house and a lovely wife, and he, on some level, doesn't believe he deserves that. And you can see him wearing it all over himself. And he's a twister. He told Mike Hill, he made it sound like he had permission to go away. He absolutely didn't.
And I thought it was just sad the way he wanted to come off like the nice husband who's getting everyone a drink. It's like, that's not who you are, buddy.
The only note I wrote down was, I hate a man on best behavior.
Wow.
Say it again. Let's hear it one more
I
time.
hate a man on best behavior. You all need a drink?
Wow.
Anyone need a drink?
Word.
Here I am getting the door. I'm the butler. I'm the perfect husband.
But
give
we've
it a
seen
rest.
such the opposite. And also, what I hate, as I've said in other weeks, what upset me about Ralph is like, don't emasculate me. When a man says that he's being emasculated, my pricklies go up.
Yeah.
Up.
How does you knowing where I was for 3 days when I abandoned my family change anything? Okay. Sure.
Okay, Ralph.
Good point.
Okay.
Great point, Ralph. Great point. Anyway.
Wow. You have given us a real,
really have made us think.
just a lot to chew on there.
No, but I was wondering if anything more had developed with Ralph. But Ralph is a lie.
Ralph is on ice right now.
He's a big problem. He's a big problem.
He's a big problem. Should we take a quick break and come back with Salt Lake?
Yes, please.
Well, we are back from break. Let's talk about Salt Lake City.
Now, it was the season finale, which I didn't realize it was going to be this skin clinic party was our season finale.
That's what we were
Beauty
building
Lab
to.
and Laser.
Sorry. Thank you for the correction.
This show was like Benjamin Button. It started off old, like we'd seen it. We were at the height of it, and then it ended with a whimper, and we were babies in a skin clinic because we got so much Botox.
Yeah, they weren't sure if this was going to be a thing or not. This is one of those first seasons where they just, let's give it a shot and we'll find an act.
It didn't have its footing.
They knew they were only going to do a limited shoot. We're going to shoot them for 2 months or 1 month or whatever it is. And whatever we get, we get.
And I'm not upset at what I got. I got some great stuff. I mean, I got a lot of Mary just rummaging around her closet, which I appreciate.
Can you talk about the tray, Ronna?
You mean a hospital tray?
Yeah.
Well, the bookends, there's the hospital tray and then the bookend of the very end of the season of Mary saying she had to leave because she was going to go find a burger and a fry. When we happen to know, having observed her all season, that she doesn't eat solid food. So that was never happening. That was just a thing you say to people so they think you eat food. When you say, I'm going to see if I can find a burger and a fry at 11 o'clock. Mary eats off of a hospital tray that is often brought to her by her niece/housekeeper. And she only eats food and serves food that has saran wrap on top of it, just as though you were in a hospital. And she has called for her tray. And she also only drinks liquid shakes.
Yes, we've seen many liquid shakes.
I don't know if she maybe has Crohn's disease or there's something. We know she has an autoimmune thing, which is, of course, why she had to have all of her scent glands removed from her body.
I mean, for someone who hates hospital and the smell of hospital, to be, eating as though she were in a hospital at home is really something.
Where is my tray? Can you bring my tray from that room to
Thou
this room?
doth protest too much, some might say.
Yeah.
Where is my tray?
Yeah.
Now, someone sent me it was on TikTok, and I'm not, of course, can never seem to credit because I'm trying to find it on my phone, but a close-up that she had taken a beautiful still amidst another phone call of Mary wandering around the house, the carpeted house by herself. And it was just a quick moment, but she had the foresight and insight to close in on the thermostat, and it was 81.
Phew.
During a Salt Lake winter, all I could say, and you know me, I was like, that's expensive. That's a very expensive heat.
I know that's what you were thinking.
That's a big house. 81 is a huge house.
81.
But 81 is
I like to keep it warm.
on a thermostat. Hot on a thermostat is 70.
What's the most you guys are going up?
74 is the hottest I'll go. And that's because when I'm freezing.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll go 73.
During the heat, 70. 72 the most.
During the winter,
During the winter.
Yeah.
70?
72 if I'm
74,
living on the edge.
70. I like to keep it toasty, but 81 is a sauna.
I'll put a space heater near me.
You'll hold those little hot pockets in your hands.
She loves a glove warmer.
I don't need to heat my whole house. That's so expensive.
I know. And 81 is alarming.
Mary really got sidelined as the season progressed, I felt.
Well, we found out that she was initially supposed to be a friend of, and I will say, as much as I love Bravo, that was a tragic mistake.
I agree.
Because they didn't have the footage. Now, this week, we got the footage we've been needing the whole time, which is Mary with her congregation.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
My.
Amen.
Now,
the amen sweatshirt.
Amen.
No one is meaner to the people who work for her.
Yeah.
Or volunteer in her choir, her church choir.
Mary, anyone who works for her, I've never seen someone so cruel.
Well, it's very clear that Mary inherited her position and that it was not a calling.
No.
Even though she describes it as a calling, it really wasn't. It's very clear that she inherited all of this because she really just sees it as like running a hotel.
But to call yourself the first lady, just right off the bat, is so insane. She walks into the choir rehearsal and says, "Do y'all love me?" Then she
and everyone screamed.
turned.
They screamed as if the Queen of England had arrived.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It was very interesting.
Then she turns to a man that I thought was of fine stature and build and says, "Why are you gaining weight?"
Oh, that was tough.
It was tough.
You need to drink
and then a
more
much
water.
bigger boy she turned to and just said, "Oh, yeah, you need to drink water. Get a tray."
It was crazy that she insulted him like that. And then she turned to the guy at the drums who was much larger and said, "You look great. How do you feel?" "You look great."
And he was a bigger boy.
Yeah. And then she was tearing everyone apart in the choir, of course.
Oh, tearing them all. That one guy, she was like, "Where did you go? Where are you? Looking away?" And he just smiled and took it.
And then 2 seconds later, she was crying. I mean, it was wild.
Yeah.
And then to see a preview of the reunion where she has simply drifted off during the reunion.
I did not expect the reunion to, it seems like it's going to be pretty explosive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't have quite expected that. Yeah.
Now, I found one of the hardest moments of this episode, this final episode, was one of the first when Meredith simply gave Seth, her ex now husband, a bowl of cut up banana.
Sliced banana.
Sliced, like, that's the most disgusting thing. Like, as a snack, as a meal, a bowl, like, just have a fucking banana or like that. It grossed me out to no end.
Yes, that somehow that was being an attentive wife, was slicing a banana for him like he was a child.
I feel like that's all I've ever done for Dave.
No!
But, I mean, did you do it as sort of a makeup? Did you have a big fight and slice him a banana?
No, but I will make him a coffee. That is like the height of our love.
But that's fine. But
that's lovely.
But I don't understand. Who eats a bowl, if you're not a child,
of just sliced bananas?
Of just sliced bananas.
Wait, for his blood sugar?
Well,
what do you think of Meredith, Ronna?
Well, I really have to say I have trouble getting past the boot cut jean. All of her pants are boot cut, and I have trouble getting past that. I do.
Yeah.
And she wants to bring that back for some reason, and I'm not sure what that's about. But it was interesting. These final 2 episodes, she was much more self-possessed than she had been in the previous episodes, and she expressed her dismay with other people and her boundaries clearly, which I appreciated more than I had appreciated her previously. I appreciated that she had a line that people had crossed and she wasn't going to cross back over that. But mostly, I think Meredith is just one of those retail people that sort of slinks in and out of a space and holds 14 hangers at the same time. And tilts their head and looks up and down while they're trying to decide what you're wearing or you're not wearing. And I find her house, I don't know what's going on there exactly. That's obviously
I've heard it's a rental. I've heard Meredith has a rental.
There's no question it's a rental. There isn't one piece of artwork on any wall, and she didn't buy any of that furniture.
Is it because why is everyone in a rental? Do they not really live there? What's going on?
Well, in fairness to them, they seem to be between 2 places, but I also think that the husband is between jobs. That she has this sort of boutique that she's running. And I mean, the husband was saying he had to go back to Canton, Ohio, or this or that. But there's something very off about them. And I guess it's because they got together when they were so young that they just have some sort of old-fashioned codependency that they can't quite break themselves of. But who would want to spend 5 minutes with Seth? I mean, she looks at him and she sees him as he was when he was 25. Is the only explanation for that relationship.
And I think he was something at 25. I do.
I think so too. I think he
for a guy you would want to
had
marry,
a lot
like a
of
nice
potential,
guy.
and I think he was cute. Even the pictures you see from him from 5 years ago, he was much cuter.
You know who was something this episode? Not to change the subject.
Not Brooks, because he was barely on, thank God.
No, not thank God.
Yeah.
We've all fallen out
He's
of love.
insufferable.
Yeah.
But you know who was something? Seeing Whitney's dad in his zone.
Oh.
In his element. I root for him.
Me too. And I'm going to say something crazy.
No, Danielle.
No, Danielle,
Stop.
stop. Danielle, stop.
I'm going to say
Don't
it.
lie. It's
don't
trying to
think-
be funny.
I don't think it
I'm
should
not-
be said. I think it should be
I don't
left
even think
unsaid.
we need to hear
No,
it.
I want to say this. because
Like
it's
Carol
true.
Radziwill's book that she didn't write, What Remains. Let's leave it.
Okay, I will leave it.
Go ahead, Danielle.
Okay,
What
go
was
ahead.
it?
I found myself attracted to him this episode. Because seeing a man do
with
what
his craft.
he does in his element with the confidence that we have not seen this season. It's like when you see them on stage, he was glowing. He was in his element. I got him. This was the first time I got who he was.
He knew his
essence.
way around a head of hair.
Yes.
He knew his way around a blunt cut, and I'll tell you, I root for him. I find him charming and sweet. I don't agree with that I want to have sex with him, but I do agree that I fucking root for him. He seems like a really great guy, and I hope the best for him.
Me too. And I just loved seeing him the way she has
God intended.
the way that he wanted to see himself and the way he once was before,
I think it helped Danielle because we talked about last week how horny you are, and also I think it helped that his hair was covered in.
It was the bandana helped. I'm not gonna. And
What
I usually
about
don't like
he looked like he was wearing googly eyes. He had the sunglasses above the bandana.
I appreciated it. I needed
No.
the bandana.
Are you a big Bon Jovi fan? Are you a Richie Sambora fan? Is that you think?
Maybe I am.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
I was.
Wow.
I felt him.
But he could cut hair. To see the way that he moved it with the comb.
He was
and then
great.
He knew how to cut hair, but he couldn't give a blow dry. She looked terrible walking out of there.
Maybe
Wait,
it's like how women, I guess nail technicians do know how to do their own nails because he has stumbled a bit with his own look.
Yeah, well,
he's caught
but
in the
that's
note-
more. He's holding on to something.
He's holding on.
Right. I don't think it's like a bad cut if you're doing that.
He's just
cut.
holding on to an idea and a moment, and yeah.
Someone DM'd me something that I do think is worth saying. And I'm not saying names for any of these because I just didn't ask anyone, but she said, Casey, I was in Park City and I decided to go to Meredith Marks Boutique. I was astounded to see made in China labels on jackets that were selling for $990.
Wow.
And it was all fake, and there were fake cashmere gloves.
You know,
And
we
what
should
is her
ask.
boutique supposed to be.
We should ask Elizabeth Banks. She has a house in Park City. We should ask her if she's had any interaction with Meredith Max.
I'll email.
Yeah.
I think it's a Kyle by Aileen 2 type situation.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
I just don't know.
She has her own jewelry line. That's a big thing that she talks about. But all of those clothes, like Real Housewives clothes, basically, where you think you never will have heard of any of these designers. You sort of think she's wearing Balmain half the time with those jackets. And then she's mixing in some decoys along with that. She's got about 3 Balmain jackets, and then she's mixing in some decoys.
She needs to retire the hot pink suit.
Oh, God. Does she? What about when she wore grocery shopping a few episodes? They went to a mini mart, her and her son.
Unacceptable.
And she had cleavage down to her belly. I mean, it was bizarre. It's absolutely bizarre. We have just not. We moved right past her mask, though. I suppose we're going to get to that.
The mask.
Well, I have to say it was very prescient. Pre-pandemic, she had the mask look, but she was having full conversations with people in that mask.
She was putting a straw through the mask.
As though it was okay.
No, she didn't, Danielle. I didn't see that.
They showed it twice. 2 times they had the camera on her saying she's
sorry, guys. Sometimes I have to be doing stuff while I'm listening. Wow.
She was
okay. I do love when Mary gives shade. Mary was like, she should never wear that again.
Yes, I loved that.
Only Lisa said to her, would you mind taking that down while we speak? And that was like, and then she had a full face of makeup on underneath.
Now, even though Lisa, we found from her tax returns this week, gave a lot of money to Ted Cruz, I do feel like I liked how Lisa handled things this week. I like how she said, look, in her position, I wish someone would come to me. I think Lisa has some character. I do. Okay, no, everyone's looking at me horrified. I will say her office felt like she rented like a backdrop behind her desk. It looked like an airport kiosk.
Oh, I'm sure that's just what Warren Buffett's office looks like.
And with those poor kids being made to manage
Fresh Wolf.
Fresh Wolf.
Now, when you have a business meeting at Bitch Sesh headquarters, I just want to check on
the
this.
headquarters.
This is what we do at the Carriage House, but I'm not sure if this is what you do at Bitch Sesh HQ. Does everyone get a big gulp, or do you just bring one for yourself?
I pull a Kenya, and I just Postmates one for myself.
She brings one crab cake.
Everybody gets a big gulp.
I mean, their insides must be rotting, that whole family.
And then they're wondering why the 8-year-old son can't behave himself. He literally is living on junk food and sugar.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And the hypnotist, could we just discuss the hypnotist from last week?
Oh, she was fantastic.
I loved her.
Fantastic.
Of all the kooks we've seen on these shows that they take people to see, she was an absolute genius and made perfect sense.
She did, and that's not what she was there that day to do, which was not the job she was hired for.
Well, it was because she's a truth seeker.
Yes.
Wow.
It wasn't how the day was supposed to go. It was what she was there for.
Greg Bennett, love him, DM'd me and with a picture of her and said, and I took this as a huge compliment, that I could pull off the look that hypnotist had.
I agree. You could absolutely play her.
Just the hair and the
strawberry blonde hair.
Very skinny, big chest. Yep, the whole thing.
That felt like a compliment.
Definitely. A huge compliment, Danielle.
I was impressed with how Lisa handled that situation. I was impressed with Lisa showing some integrity and saying she was very reasonable. First of all, I was very impressed with how they accepted Whitney's apology.
Mm-hmm.
And as well they should have, because Whitney, look, that was crazy. The way that Whitney, whatever she thought she was doing or trying to do was totally misguided. But she is a lovely person who truly is trying to do. The problem is she's just not really close with Jen or any of these women, and they don't want to be close with her. And so they're dismissive of whatever she brings to them, essentially.
She's also not bright, I would say.
I think that there's a little classism going on there between Lisa and Meredith and Whitney and Jen. A little divide.
So Whitney and Jen are where?
Below. That's how they're being treated. I don't see them that way. I'm saying I do feel there's like a little thing where they're kind of like the kid sisters, or they're seen a bit as less.
Well, Meredith is snooty. There's no question.
Yeah, and she's fucking cold as hell when Jen was crying. Not Jen, I'm sorry. Okay, I meant Heather and Whitney down here and Meredith and Lisa up here.
Okay, and Jen to the
Again,
side.
not how
somewhere.
I see them. Jen
Yeah.
in off
Jen
in orbit
sort of-
with Mary.
Jen has been able to straddle all the
Yes.
groups, I would say, because they view Jen as like an equal, I think, on some level.
Yes. But when Heather was crying to Meredith and Meredith didn't even extend a hand to her, I'm like, you're a fucking cold bitch. I'm sorry. I don't like Meredith.
They were holding hands.
I hate
in the
people who
beginning.
don't engage,
Yeah.
who are like, these are my boundaries. Like, shut the fuck up. I got to protect my positive energy. You're the least positive person I've ever met.
Yeah, and also it's just dishonest. Whatever she's doing is, she's not really giving us the
I'm
whole
not buying
story.
what she's selling,
Yeah.
and I know everybody else is, but I'm not.
But
No, I'm not buying that.
Also,
No.
Jen did say stuff about her marriage. Not great. But
Not great.
they've all said stuff about each other's marriages on some level. So you can't draw that line in the
That was
sand.
bad. That was bad.
Jen is completely confused about who she thinks. There is a huge disparity between who Jen thinks she is and how she walks through this world.
Yes, and who Sharif thinks she is.
Yes, though Sharif has, I'm positive, 4 other girlfriends. And
You think?
oh,
Where does he find the time?
What do you mean? He's on the road all the time.
Well, but I think he's busy
got a girlfriend
working.
in South Bend. He's got a girlfriend in Chicago. He's got a girlfriend in Texas. Sharif
No.
is checked out of that marriage.
That's why he's like love bombing her so much whenever he sees her.
Interesting.
He's only love bombing her at the end of this. He wasn't
Well, he's love bombing, but he's treating her like a child at the end. Like, look what I did for you. Like,
But it's
I've never
phony
seen it.
baloney. And I really liked
Wow.
Sharif a lot. In the beginning, I thought, oh, he's fun and he has a nice personality. And you sort of realize it's a little bit like being married to a stand-up comedian or something, where they're giving that energy to everyone else, and then you get what's left when you get home.
Wow.
And I just felt like he's on the road all the time and he's Coach Shaw and this and that. But Jen is also engaged in this bizarre. There's definitely a guilt game they're playing when she has to FaceTime him and he takes that call and he gives her a pep talk every time. It's
Ridiculous.
artificial, whatever this thing is. And what they're not talking about is the fact that he which she's trying to talk about a bit, but he is never home and he is checked out of that marriage.
well, to miss her father's funeral
Horrible.
is
Horrible. It's
I
unforgivable.
don't care what you're doing. You got to recruit a player, whatever.
Can't
It's
imagine.
her you can't.
You got to recruit a player.
What could
I
you
don't know. I'm-
possibly have to do other than fly a fighter plane?
Yeah.
What would be the
Right.
reason that you couldn't? What is the thing that you
What
couldn't come
is
to
the
your
thing?
wife's father's funeral?
You're trapped in the Capitol during the riot.
Yeah.
I mean, now I want to say another warning, if I can, to everyone. Nobody, am I alone in this, ladies? The last thing I want to do in a date is take dance lessons.
Never.
No, that's the second
Horrible.
second worst thing. The first worst thing is someone feeding me a chocolate covered strawberry. I don't want to
Right.
be
Or-
fed anything by anybody. I don't know about you.
And
two.
I don't want whipped cream on my body.
No.
Do you guys?
Very sticky. Very
And I don't need anybody to do a tequila shot out of my belly button.
Ugh,
That's fine.
No.
I don't want anyone
No,
near
maybe
my-
we're the aunties.
I have told my husband many times, like, just don't come near my stomach. Like, don't touch it. Don't come near it. Like, I can't have a person come near my stomach.
And don't come on it.
No, that's fine.
I'm certain she's never said that.
I'm sure Danielle has said you can come all over this body, this face, this ass, anywhere. Sorry, Danielle, but I know you're freewheeling. I mean, you've left us to infer after you started our last episode saying how horny you are.
Look, guys. I don't know what to tell you. Valentine's Day is approaching. Let's see.
It seems like
Do
every
we
day is
think
Valentine's
Jen
Day.
Shaw is and I'm sure you covered this last time too, but the shopping experience in Las Vegas,
We
otherwise,
had such a discussion about
otherwise
that.
known as shopping.
Yeah.
And I'm going to buy you nothing and you have to pay for everything? What is this
Well,
experience?
we were trying to figure it out. Is if Jen Shaw was paying for it. We didn't come up with an answer. I don't
Definitely
believe
not.
she was.
She did not say to her, pick out 2 pairs of
That's
shoes.
what I said. I said she didn't say
Okay.
that.
They even had a moment where she said, what are you getting and what are you getting? Remember they compared their
Exactly.
winnings? And what about Billy? He's not worth a lot of time, but he's worth something. Do we know
Billy?
anything about Billy, Heather's ex-husband, who
Oh.
came to the
Oh.
party?
We know he is.
He is
just
a nothing.
Just
A
Mormon
real
dud.
nothing.
from another planet.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
a
a
real
dud.
zero. That one.
Yeah.
I was proud of Heather, guys. I
Me too.
really was.
How did you feel about her getting in a fight at her own party and then forgiving Jen?
It felt right.
It felt like Heather.
Yeah, like it felt
Yeah.
like
True to her.
She
character.
said, I will never cut anyone out.
No, she won't. And I did feel for her when she had that discussion about like, what would I want for my child? Because I've said that in my own life. Like when I'm making decisions that I know maybe aren't the best ones, I would like, what would I want my daughter to do or say right now? And so I felt that really strongly because I get that, like not being able to do the thing that you want your children to have the self-respect to be able to do.
Yeah.
I also think Heather has trauma and she did some basic math and she said, this will be harder on me to let her go than to just bring her back in.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
She didn't want to go through that emotionally.
And it's a small town. And Jen provides some kind of
entryway. Fun.
I think she's an entryway
to a world and
higher.
Yeah.
And I think you're right, Ronna. It is fun. It's like she's the one you can go out and have a fun time with. And there's not that many, I think, good time gals.
And she's got a very serious drinking problem, though, and really has no control over her anger. Yeah. Very unresolved. Yeah. It's not just, I mean, when she turns.
I say good time gal, you say.
Well, when she turns hard.
Oh, I think she's borderline.
Yes, I agree. I do.
I would say this about Jen and Heather, though. They're the only two, quote unquote, sort of single girls on the show because, you know, Coach Shaw's never there.
Yeah.
So they are single together.
Yeah.
Which helps.
Do we think Whitney's going to make it to next season?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
And do we also know why Whitney's confessional looks so awful
terrible.
and she's such a pretty girl?
Is it her dad, Danielle? Is it your lover going in and taking
the hair,
to the comb and the brush?
She's taking it to such a strange place because she looks so good with minimal makeup and a fun look.
It's a first season show.
And we've seen this before. They take a big swing on the testimonial looks. And they're not always right.
No.
And it looks like she's got like Vaseline on the lens.
Strange.
There's a lot going on. The last thing, speaking of Whitney, I just want to offer kind of condolences and my empathy to Whitney's husband because he and I suffer from that red skin. And I don't know if he needs a sensitive skin type of thing or more sunscreen. But every time I see him, I go, God damn it. I feel you, man.
I never think of you as a ruddy complexion. I think of you as an alabaster complexion.
Well, I do everything in my power to have you think that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just think he could do a little more.
Well, I'm excited to see the reunion.
They could just knock down.
I do think they really genuinely like each other.
Yeah,
I think they have a nice marriage.
Yeah. That is a good
very
marriage.
nice.
That is a great.
Do we think her dad's going to make it in this world? Doesn't sound like it from the preview.
I'm scared.
To the reunion.
I pray.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
I fucking pray.
But what do we think Lisa's going to be so bananas about at the reunion? What do we think that's about?
What people said behind their backs. I think they're all going to hear the testimonials and they've all sort of shit on each other. So we're going to see that come to fruition. Like
Lisa had a terrific line where she said something about how she does not an anxious person.
Oh,
so
I was
she didn't
you're the
know.
most anxious person.
She's literally running on anxiety at every
I'm
moment.
not an anxious person and it makes me anxious. I was like, honey, you are anxiety.
I don't see her as anxious.
What?
She talk.
She's anxiety personified.
Oh my, I can't. And the husband.
I see her as a doer.
Or ADD. She can't pay attention to the husband.
All of that.
Oh my
yes.
God,
Yes.
That's anxiety.
Is it?
ADD
and anxiety are not
She seems to be running on anxiety to me. That is what.
Okay. I think she's running on Sonic Diet Coke.
Well, that's also true. Yeah, 40 ounces. I'll never get over that montage of them going, getting breakfast and going to every takeout window.
It was
beautiful.
Really divine.
And her husband seems like a really lovely guy who just wants a little more family time.
Another zero.
Danielle, another zero, she says.
Zero.
Danielle's meter for what she's attracted to and what she'll tolerate.
I've told her this and I love you. Her
crazy.
meter has been off lately.
She would rather be with sober living than the nice guy that said, can we have a conversation?
For sure.
Who said, I'd like to take the kids
I like
camping more.
someone steps into their power for that power.
See, I like a Seth. You know how I am about a Jewish man, and Seth is mwah, mwah, mwah.
Oh,
for me.
What about? Gosh, Seth was so drunk for the whole first half of the season. That was
he
was
has a
something to
drinking
watch.
problem.
Yeah,
These are all things that are true.
yeah. having dinner and slurring through dinner was pretty fun. Well, it's fun because she's such an ice queen. So to see her husband just throwing that on her a little bit, like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to misbehave, and it's going to be hard for you to. Let's see if you can. Your veneer will crack.
Yeah. I like it.
It didn't. Let's take a break, and then we'll come back with Dallas. All right, we're back with some Dallas. Now, this was not an eventful episode by any means.
No, pickle shots.
Yeah, pickle shots, going through, downtown, wherever the city was that they were.
Grapevine, Texas.
Wherever
Texas.
That is.
Yeah.
Listening to Carrie and Deandra snip at each other, both women making each other more unlikable than I thought they both could be.
Such a great point, I have to say.
I hate Carrie. I find her insufferable. And you know how I feel about Deandra, so that's saying a lot. But I'm on Deandra's side on this one. I think Carrie is such a picker and a needler and so fucking unhappy.
Miserable person.
Miserable human, mad that Deandra has a good marriage. The people that are always comparing, like, her life was harder, my life was harder. It's like, get yourself together. Like, you're in a miserable marriage. No one is that scared of not having money unless they are on the fucking
she's on the border of, she's on the edge.
But who's
Her
this husband? She said if her husband left it, she'd have nothing. I mean, that doesn't even make any sense.
Well, I think that they have some deal that she gets nothing.
He's an asshole.
He's the worst.
Yeah.
But Deandra always acts as if she wasn't given this business, like handed it.
But why does she need every fucking second to apologize to everyone for this? Like, and believe me, you know how much fun I've made of her, but like, it's like, why would that be okay for a friend to turn on her?
But she said to Carrie, "This you don't have a viable business."
She did.
So she brought it up.
That's true.
So I'm not saying
that's
that she has
Deandra's fault. Deandra is delusional she's living in a delusion about who she is and what she's doing and her sort of mini me of her mother, that she thinks she's a mini me of a mother, but she's like her mother's pinky, And if she would just accept what she's been given and just say, you know what? I'm pretty goddamn lucky, and I've got a great husband, but I never had a family, but whatever it is. And she would release herself from so much of her psychic anxiety that she's carrying around with this ridiculous Darren the shaman and this and that. but Deandra's Deandra.
When he said, I think of you as a queen.
I was like, you are wrong.
Now
no
we're in
one
trouble.
go to the shaman.
Well, he just guaranteed 10 more sessions for her. But
yes.
Deandra's Deandra. So for everyone, I agree with Casey to the extent that everyone already knows who she is. So what are we litigating here? Whether Deandra wants to live in a delusion or not, they all know what she's about. So what are we talking about? Fine. She's a rich kid from Highland Park, whatever it is. But Carrie is so nasty and miserable and mean-spirited, and throwing Tiffany in the pool like that at that party.
Well,
Tiffany, who can't swim, excuse me. I mean, we found out it was a spool, not a pool, is what we found out.
What's
Tiffany,
a spool?
It was a pool, a spa pool, not a real pool. But
that's also dangerous.
Tiffany was able to stand, she was all right.
But that's dangerous to throw someone in a pool. That's
also true.
Yes, it's like the Baja Shelf with Ken.
Once I jumped into a spool and I almost killed myself.
Baja Shelf with Ken. It's exactly like that. But she's really miserable and really nasty.
Angry.
And it was really unfair of her to bring that up about her daughter.
And I thought that was cruel to her daughter. I thought she was...
And the other daughter was fascinating. That was my favorite scene of the whole episode. Mm-hmm. The other daughter who basically has said to her before, I'm not going to play housewives with you. If I have to appear here and there for the sake of, the business of that, very clearly that daughter said, this is what I agreed to. And when she tried to have that divorce conversation with her and make it seem like, here's my other favorite thing. If I didn't notice you were hurt during the divorce, the child of the divorce, the oldest child of the divorce, you forgot to notice if it bothered her that her parents were getting divorced. And that's your apology while you're working on your necklaces.
And she wants us all to see like what a great mom she is, and how she's having these sit downs. And her daughter fucking shut her
When
down.
she started going on Instagram, that was my favorite. When the daughter
she
was
lied
like,
to her daughter. Did you guys see that? She lied to her daughter. She lied to the daughter because she realized what she did was wrong when she brought up, my daughter's about to kill herself at the party. And then she lied to her daughter and she said, I talked about your sister's depression. It's like, no. You went beyond that. Not that there's shame in that. There's no shame at all. But what I'm saying is you used it as a tool to build yourself up.
Yes.
And even though the daughter shared this on camera, how dare you as a mother in a fight with other women throw that out there? It's the most disgusting thing I've ever seen.
But
and
what is all this? The tequila's cold and this is that and that.
She's a fucking bitch.
Who cares?
I'm sorry, but she is.
Yeah,
it was like I couldn't even hear anyone think, or she was just.
We know
so
you didn't
mean.
make this cheese platter. Well, no, she didn't. We're at a catered affair. I don't really understand what you're trying to say here. I mean, it just, what do you? Did I make this charcuterie platter for 12? No, I didn't. I made the reservation.
No, I didn't.
I made the reservation. I don't understand your question.
The end.
Yeah.
I did like her last season. This is just not a good look on her.
I hated her last season too. She's fucking boring and miserable.
And she's not.
What is the source of her misery? I didn't watch last
her marriage
season.
and that she has no money of her own and she's trying to do it now with necklaces, but she has nothing. And I don't think she likes her husband and her children are grown. And so I think she's struggling to make something for herself.
Yeah.
I gotta say, Tiff is wearing very thin on me.
Really?
There isn't much there.
Every line out of her mouth is how much she works and her kids. And I get that storyline, but also maybe it's like cutting close to home and I'm not at all suggesting I do what she does, but it's just every fucking second. Like, please talk about something else. Literally, someone will be like, pass the salt. And she's like, it's very hard when you work at a hospital to pass the salt. Yeah. Like, she gotta just
what kind of a doctor is hanging out with 10 women outside of the hospital? That's what I was certain she had taken a leave of absence to do the show.
Me too. Or why would they want to be with her?
I can't understand who would permit this.
I just can't. I'm just so tired of hearing that storyline.
Here's my problem with that storyline, too, is that you are spending time on the Housewives show. So if you really felt that you were torn, you would be an anesthesiologist and then spend time with your kids. But you wouldn't then sign up for the Housewives.
And I totally agree. And this is a very unfair thing to say, but I find it very hard to look at someone who has spent that much time on their hair, their makeup, and their appearance, talking about how there isn't a moment in the day to take their daughter outside on her bicycle and crying over that. Look, we're all women. We have to take care of ourselves first in order to take care of our families.
Look, the only way I'm going to pipe up for Tiff is like, it's hard to be on camera with no hair.
I don't have any problem with any of that. It's just this idea that her life is a negotiation between work and home. And you're finding time to shop and you're finding time to look. I'm not saying you don't deserve to have a life when you have a family, but this is her
she's
complaint.
So torn up about it.
This is her complaint.
Interesting. And where I find it hard to believe is like, but then there's also Housewives, which takes up a great deal of time. So if you really, and I get you want that for yourself too, but you do as a human being, not, have to choose.
She sort of decided that was what her character was going to be about because she doesn't really have much. There isn't much more to her.
She seems like a nice person. Like I just can't listen to that anymore. Now, last thing is I'm finding and starting to really hate Travis.
I hate Travis.
Yeah. Travis is tough.
He's the worst.
He's darker than I thought.
He's the worst. I do not like how he treats his wife. Do not.
Yeah, that whole.
And I think he's setting a terrible example for those boys.
Definitely.
And I worry, just like that view of being a mom and that view of women is terrifying to me.
Yeah, he's incredibly dismissive of her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's wonderful.
She's very sweet and she's there for everybody all the time. And she looks great, Stephanie, I think. I think she's got a great hair colorist. Whoever she switched to is wonderful.
Wonderful.
And I keep trying to figure out if those are her eyes or not. But then her mother has the same eyes.
Her mother's so sweet.
Her mother's adorable. But then her mother's on the ground painting. What does her husband care? Why doesn't he say, okay, we'll pay some guys to paint your office this weekend? What does it matter?
And he's the guy that's like, you want to work? You'll fucking work.
Exactly.
Well, and that she has this idea to do this charity, whatever this is, redoing these locker rooms. And he says, yeah, but I have to pay for it. It's my stuff. And I have to,
But she, again, that's what it's like. It's his money.
The thing is, with a guy like that, she shouldn't have done charity. She should have just done a job.
Yeah, she shouldn't do anything to do with him.
Because now she's underfoot with him.
Yeah.
She's under his thumb.
Yeah.
But how dare he treat her that way? Because again, being a full-time mom is a job.
No question.
Oh, no question.
Yeah. And so to treat her as if this is my money, no, it is both your money.
But it was sort of interesting when she said that she dominates him in the bedroom and he doesn't mind.
That was wild.
Did you catch that?
Yeah, I did.
She said that she breaks out the paddle basically in the bedroom.
It did really make me laugh when she was paddling everyone in the store and paddling Deandra, whose ass felt no pain. And finally she goes, "I'll take the paddle." And they're like, "That's a charcuterie board, man."
Also to find out that she was a cocaine addict.
The least surprising revelation on that in her 20s, her whole 20s, she was a cocaine.
The way she said it just made me laugh so hard though, because she was like, "Yeah, I've had drug stuff." And the friend who we have no idea her fucking name or who that woman is, she goes, "What was your drug stuff?" She goes, "I was a cocaine addict."
My whole 20s. You know that?
Yeah, you know that.
One last thing is just the editors, when I think it was at the point where Carrie was saying, like, my daughter tried to kill herself, the editors kind of flashed on everyone and they dared to flash on that Brandy head.
Well, Brandy's head, which was called Captain Brandy, and then the subtitle of it said Deandra's friend.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty
Wait,
funny.
They flashed on that?
They kept giving her a chyron that said Captain Brandy, Deandra's friend.
I feel like I could be wrong about that, but in my mind, that's when.
How dare they go to her POV on that?
Oh, there we are.
Well, that was worth it, Danielle. Thank you.
Sorry, I had to.
No, you had to.
Ladies, this was such a blast.
Ronna Glickman, tell us about your podcast. Because it's a funny
Ask
podcast.
Ronna podcast, which is Ask Ronna with Ronna and Brian, which is with fabulous Brian Safi, who your listeners know and love, and who doesn't know and love him. And Casey has been on. Danielle has not been on yet. We've been chasing her, but I don't know if it's because it's some sort of interfamilial thing or what's going on.
It's hard to get on a Zoom with your family. We just can't make it work.
Yeah. Well, it'll happen. It'll happen. I feel confident. But it comes out every Tuesday, wherever you get your podcasts. And we have a fabulous live show coming up on Valentine's Eve, February 13th. So if people go to AskRonnaLive.com, they can get the tickets.
It's such a funny podcast with genuinely great advice.
We do our best. We do our best.
And it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, you're the best.
Thank you for having me. This was such a pleasure.
Thank you, Auntie, for being here.
Thank you. Danielle's aunt, a.k.a. Jessica Chaffin. You are the best.
We adore you.
Ladies, take care of yourselves. Be safe. Wear your masks. And I love you, and I'll see you soon.
Mwah.
We love you. Goodbye, Auntie Ronna.